That's it. This is all I need. After Better Call Saul finishes, this is the end of the Breaking Bad universe. I don't need anything more. El Camino ended it perfectly. El Camino was written and directed by Vince Gilligan, the creator of Breaking Bad, and it stars Aaron Paul once again as Jesse Pinkman, as well as many others. To sum up El Camino, it's essentially a character study of Jesse Pinkman. Like, if you saw Jesse Pinkman at the beginning of Breaking Bad Season 1 and you saw him in El Camino, you go, oh, this is a completely different person. It really shows just how much the events of Breaking Bad has shaped him and changed him as a person. The thing that I loved about this film was that, although it was plot-driven, it focused a lot more on its characters, and I loved it for that. The flashback showing Jesse's relationship with Todd was fascinating, and that's mainly because we learned so much about the two of them. I mean, Todd is such an interesting character, because in Breaking Bad Season 5, Todd is there, he's absolutely despicable, he's like Satan incarnated, he's just the worst. But here in El Camino, you look at him and you go, wow, he's just a man-child. The way he carries himself, his mannerisms, he's just a big kid. The moment where he keeps going on about soup to Jesse, like, his mannerisms, the way he talks, the way he keeps repeating it, like, he is just one big kid. One of the cool little details El Camino brings in from Breaking Bad is that Todd kept Drew Sharp's tarantula. Like, it really just reveals that Todd has such a, oh, I'll take what's mine mentality, like a child. Also, one of the more amusing things is the way he talks to Jesse. Like, the way he talks to him, he, like, thinks they're friends, which is hilarious because, I mean, Jesse despises the living shit out of him. I mean, if it wasn't obvious enough in Breaking Bad, in El Camino, Jesse literally pulls a gun on him in the desert, like, ready to kill him. But then because Todd has managed to get inside Jesse's brain and sort of almost, like, trick him that, like, Todd is the more gentle out of the neo-Nazis, like, he manages to talk Jesse down just by, like, offering him pizza. And, like, it's just so interesting and, like, sick and twisted how Jesse was once upon a time Todd's boss, and now Todd's the one giving the orders and, like, forcing Jesse to be a meth slave. Like, God, it's just, the writing is so good. Now, as much as I enjoy Todd in this film, I will say my one issue with Todd is that Jesse Plemons has, you know, after Breaking Bad's ended, he's put on some size, and not that that's a bad thing, it's just that for the sake of continuity, it would have been nicer if he'd, you know, slimmed down for the role again. But hey, who am I to judge? Maybe Todd did put on some weight after Walt left Albuquerque during the events of Breaking Bad. The plot for this film is good, but you can tell it's not the focus, because essentially the plot is just Jesse getting enough money to pay the vacuum cleaner guy so he can disappear. Side note, the vacuum repair guy is awesome. Like, the moment where he actually calls the cops on Jesse after Jesse thinks he's calling his bluff, it's just so cool, and it's such a, oh my god, he really did do that moment, and it just tells so much about his character. Just, God, he's awesome. But yeah, the reason why the film's lack of a plot per se doesn't really bug me is that it's a character study, it's a character piece. This is how Jesse Pinkman gets away. In a lot of ways, Jesse is similar to Walt in the Breaking Bad finale, where he really just doesn't care what happens to him. Obviously, he wants to survive and get away, but at the end of the day, he could live or die, and it just really wouldn't matter. And we see that culminate in the Mexican standoff between him and the welder guy. Yeah, I don't really remember his name. I did have to think for a second when he showed up on screen because I didn't know if he was a Breaking Bad character, but then the film does flashback and reveals that he's actually the guy who's made Jesse's meth lab trap harness thing that, you know, keeps him in place during Breaking Bad Season 5. But Jesse getting away with everything at the end and moving to Alaska, starting a new life, there's not only great payoff to the flashback with Mike that opens the film, but it also just, it gives Jesse some finally much needed and well-deserved peace. Not that I'm condoning a person who makes crystal meth and has killed people is deserving of peace, but the character of Jesse just deserved it because he was always the kid that everybody doubted because they always judged him for being a meth head, when in actual fact the kid had a lot of talent and potential and just no one took advantage of it. Well, I mean, technically Walter White did, but it's like, yeah, like I said in my Breaking Bad review, Breaking Bad is essentially a fucked up coming-of-age tale for Jesse Pinkman. And nothing cements the idea more than the flashback with Walter White. And I have to say, when I saw that flashback, I got so nostalgic. I got so happy seeing, you know, Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul on screen once again. Just, it got me so sort of happy and really nostalgic for Breaking Bad because not only was the flashback taking place after my favorite episode of Breaking Bad in Season 2, but just the scene overall was really nice, and actually seeing old school Jesse Pinkman, you know, the really happy-go-lucky meth head kid, like, it was so great seeing that contrast, like, because throughout the whole of El Camino, Jesse Pinkman is a really broken and damaged character. He's serious, like, he really went through a lot of shit in Breaking Bad, and just seeing him being, you know, Jesse Pinkman once again, it was so nice to see, and just, I love that flashback. And overall, the film is shot really nicely. Yes, it's not shot on film like Michael Slovis' work in Breaking Bad, but just overall, I really like the aesthetic of this film. And as a whole, I loved El Camino. It was the perfect send-off to Jesse Pinkman. It was the perfect send-off to the Breaking Bad universe. After Better Call finishes, I don't need anything more. Just the ending to El Camino was perfect. But yeah, that's what I think of El Camino. What did you guys think? Do you think that after Better Call Saul finishes that the Breaking Bad universe should be done with? Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell down there. My social media links are down in the description, so give those a look and a follow. And yeah, until we meet again, I'll see you guys next time.